The year is 2017. It is game one of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The Boston Celtics are playing the Washington Wizards, and Markieff Morris is looking to have a big game. The third leading scorer on a 49-win Wizards team during the regular season, Markieff was fresh off a 17-point, 8-rebound closeout game against the Atlanta Hawks in the first round, and now he was looking to do even more damage. Only
Morris quiets the crowd, got hit as well. Here's your tough guy for the Wizards, but he is in some real pain right now.
This ankle injury forced Markieff to miss the rest of game one, a game in which the Wizards lost, and going forward, it certainly seemed doubtful that Markieff was going to return anytime soon. Only just 2 days later, Markieff did play, and he played so well that a conspiracy was born. Because if Markieff really was in this much pain, was it possible for him to return this early, or instead, were we watching his twin brother? So what's up guys, Mike here, and yes, today we are going to dive into another conspiracy, one that is probably the most famous recent conspiracy the NBA has seen. I'm of course talking about the Morris twins conspiracy, aka did Marcus Morris switch places with his twin brother Markieff Morris before game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Boston Celtics. Now, if you have not heard this conspiracy before, you may think that it is absolutely ridiculous, but trust me, there is a lot of supposed evidence here, and during game 2 and immediately after, there were tons of people who seriously believed that we may be watching Marcus Morris in a Wizards uniform instead of Markieff. Before we do get started with the conspiracy though, I want to say please make sure to like this video. It helps out a ton, and you guys have been amazing with likes lately. Thank you so much for the recent likes and the recent support. You guys have no idea how much I really do appreciate it. Also, if you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video, and guys, comment down below any other NBA conspiracies that you want me to look into. Trust me, if it's interesting, I will definitely make a video on it. As for now, for this video, I am going to present to you all the supposed facts and hearsay and any potential evidence of the Morris twins conspiracy first, and then we will talk about any evidence against this theory as well as my personal take on it. So, as previously mentioned, Markieff Morris injured his ankle in game 1 against the Celtics, and it looked serious. Meanwhile, and this is very important, Marcus Morris was not playing in the playoffs as his Detroit Pistons team won just 37 games, and thus the Pistons were watching the playoffs at home. Again, this is important because somehow, just 2 days after an injury that many thought was going to affect Markieff for the rest of the playoffs, and was definitely going to keep Markieff out of game 2, Markieff was not only ready to play, but he was in the starting lineup for game 2. Now, that alone did not set off any red flags. We have all seen people play injured before. However, as the minutes passed and this game played out in front of us, that is when people began to get incredibly suspicious. Because not only did Markieff not show any signs of injury, but he was also on fire. Keith would make his first 4 shots, and with that, suddenly NBA Twitter exploded. Rob Perez tweeted, "My favorite NBA conspiracy is finally relevant. Markieff Morris badly rolls ankle 2 days ago. All of a sudden, he's fine and balling. It's Marcus." Bill Simmons tweeted, "Are we sure that's not Marcus Morris? Can we get a halftime DNA test?" And Network said, "I'm gonna need Marcus Morris to tweet a picture of himself holding a newspaper." This Twitter storm actually created an actual conspiracy theory, and with these seeds planted, further potential evidence caused this theory to grow. Because you see, when looking back at past interviews the Morris twins had done, we found that they had already successfully pulled a switch off before, at least twice from what they have admitted. Back in 2013, when asked in an interview if the two had ever switched places during a game, Markieff admitted that, quote, "We did it before in AAU ball. The jersey switch, was on the bench. It happened real quick. He had hurt his ankle, but I had fouled out. I gave them a little limp back in like I was hurt and kept playing." Hurt his ankle. An interesting coincidence here to say the least. And digging deeper, let's listen to this story again coming from the twins.
Little league football, he weighed in for me one time.
Yeah, so we could play on the same team.
I
had made the weight weeks before. I was already fine, and Keith had to go back. He was running around with a trash bag on. He couldn't eat. He had to drop like 2 pounds. I had to put the sweaty trash bag on and act like I was just running around and doing all this crazy stuff. Went into the building and act like him, and nobody could tell the difference.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
Yes, when Markieff's back was up against the wall, Marcus stepped in and switched places, and as they described it again,
went into the building and act like him, and nobody could tell the difference.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. Wow. That is certainly interesting, but you might be thinking to yourself, wait, the twins may have fooled people when they were kids. That is a little suspicious, but now they're grown men. How could they pull this off now, especially considering the fact that they are both tatted up? Well, that brings us back to Twitter, where more potential clues to a conspiracy continue to pop up. First, we had this tweet back in April 16th of 2017 by Candace Buckner that showed Marcus wearing his brother's jersey to support him for the playoffs. And would you look at that, you can't tell the difference between these two twins. If Candace had tweeted that this was Markieff Morris, I am 100% confident that everyone would have believed her. With that said, the most interesting talking point on Twitter came in this tweet by Roger Sherman, who pointed out that we really don't talk enough about how Marcus and Markieff have 100% identical tattoos. That is pretty convenient. Not only were the Morris twins born identical and look exactly the same, but they also chose to get the same exact tattoos on their body, a decision that certainly opened up the possibility for a switch. And as for their playstyles, well, I'm sure many people have their own opinions here, but at the end of the day, while both twins are their own players and do play the game differently, the raw numbers don't lie. Because looking at the Morris twin stats here, we can see that in the 2017 season, their numbers were very similar, and that the two even averaged the exact same amount of points per game. Looking deeper, we find that for their careers, the twins have also had very identical numbers to the point where their stats are almost as identical as they are. Strange. At this point though, we are at the turning point in the video. The point where we have to look at the evidence that might possibly demolish any hopes of a conspiracy here, so I want you to comment down below right now. Do you think this conspiracy could possibly be true? Do you think the Morris twins might have actually switched places? I'm giving you time to comment. 3, 2, 1, and okay, let's look at the evidence against this theory. The first thing we are going to look at here is the tattoos, because while the brothers do have almost identical tattoos, the keyword here is almost. Now at first glance, it does appear that the twins have the exact same tattoos, but that would be almost impossible to achieve, and so there are some differences in their tattoos. The most important difference comes on their upper left arm, when we see that both of the twins have the same Chinese lettering. However, when looking at this picture, we can see that on Markieff's arm, there are two black lines with a space in between to the right of this tattoo from our perspective. Then, on Marcus's arm, there is just a single line. This is extremely important and is really all of the evidence we are going to need to disprove this very interesting conspiracy, as during Game 2, Markieff got into a near fight with Isaiah Thomas, and if we pause right here and zoom in, we find all the evidence we need to know. We find that this is indeed Markieff's tattoo because it has two lines. So there we have it. This conspiracy is definitely fun, and you will see it pop up on a ton of NBA conspiracy lists if you go and Google a phrase like top NBA conspiracies right now. However, as we just saw, it was Markieff who played in Game 2. Now, there are several other reasons why this switch almost definitely did not take place, such as the fact that Marcus would not have been able to just step onto the court for the Wizards and immediately fit into their system and know their plays, or that his teammates would have definitely known something was up and probably would have not wanted to be accessories to a blatant breaking of the rules. But in the end, all we really need is this tattoo. And I've got to say, personally, it's kind of a shame that this tattoo gives us such concrete evidence, because this is definitely one of the more out there conspiracies in the NBA world, and it's also one of the most fun conspiracies to look into. But that's the thing about conspiracies, and I do want to say this real quick because of some of the comments on the last conspiracy video. Just because a conspiracy is not real doesn't mean that it doesn't deserve a video looking into it. Conspiracies, by their very nature, are not always going to be true. In fact, most of them are probably going to be not true, because the thing about conspiracies is that they don't have any hard evidence proving them right. If they did have that evidence, they wouldn't be conspiracies, they would be facts. That doesn't mean that it isn't still really fun to look at these rumors and see if they really are possible. I love conspiracies, and just because they aren't true doesn't mean they're still not very interesting to look into. And with that said, guys, thank you for watching this video, and again, if you did enjoy it, please make sure to leave a like. It helps me out a ton. Also, if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video. Make sure to turn post notifications on too so that you're notified whenever a video goes live. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting. You're awesome, we all know. And as always, have an awesome day, guys, and cue